Hello. Welcome back to the Find Your Ultra podcast, or welcome to the Find Your Ultra podcast in case you're a new listener. The podcast has gained so many new listeners over the last few weeks. So obviously new people are consuming this content, but I hear back only from a handful. So whoever you are here listening to this, please connect with me. Please reach out to me. I want to get to know you. I want to thank you personally for giving me your valuable time. And in general, I would love to connect with you. Please connect with me on Instagram. And from there, we can connect wherever, on the phone or whatever, right? Really looking forward. Please do that. With that, welcome to episode 16. This episode is about understanding our digestive health. There is a whole universe of microorganisms that live within our gut. They feed off the food that we eat, and they release a bunch of chemicals that impact pretty much all aspects of our health, from digestion to immunity to cognitive function, and even affect the way we age. There seems to be a growing consensus on the fact that a healthy gut microbiome is the key to a healthy life, and yet we understand so little about it. In this episode, I speak with Dr. Ujjwal Sonika, who is an associate professor of gastroenterology at Maulana Azad Medical College. He is also a published author, and one of his books was co-authored with a friend of the podcast, Dr. Medha Kapoor, who you met in episode 2. That book is called Gut Bacteria: The Secret to Health. I'll link this and his other book in the show notes. You can go check them out. Through this conversation, I try to form a surface level understanding of these tiny little dudes and dudettes that live inside of our gut in communities of trillions and have such a massive influence on our health. We talked about the effects of antibiotics, alcohol, painkillers, and numerous other things that affect the microbiome negatively, and also some of the ways in which we can improve this. Even if you're not interested in this subject, I urge you to develop an interest for this, because I believe learning about health isn't just for coaches and trainers and doctors. It is equally important for you to gain an appreciation of your own inner world. In the end, it is you who makes all the important choices. It is you who executes the plan. It is you who brings about the change. With the hope that you'll listen right till the end, I present to you Dr. Ujjwal Sonika and me in the Find Your Ultra podcast episode 16. Enjoy. Welcome to the Find Your Ultra podcast, Dr. Ujjwal Sonika.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for making time. Your reputation precedes you. You come highly recommended by a friend of mine.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, gut health is something that I have been curious about for a long time. I'm also a nutrition coach, so I advise people on the health and nutrition things.
Okay.
तो मेरा मकसद आपसे आज समझने का है gut health को लेके, क्योंकि in my opinion, whatever little I've learned about it through some, not really book. I haven't read any book about it yet. I'll probably read yours. You're an author.
Thank you.
What is it called? Gut health?
So we have actually 2 books.
Achha.
So the one is The Gut Bacteria: The Secret to Health.
Acha.
And the second book is basically Gut Microbiome.
Okay.
So they are basically around the same subject, but the first one is for the general public, and the second one is aimed more towards the professionals.
Achha.
Although it is also written in a simple language which can be understood by all.
अच्छा, ठीक है सर. तो जानने की कोशिश करेंगे आज आपसे, और आई डोंट इवन माइंड अगर हम थोड़ा टेक्निकल हो जाते हैं. प्लीज़ डू दैट. मेरी ऑडियंस काफ़ी इंटेलिजेंट है, तो मैं ऑडियंस के बारे में एज्यूम करता हूँ कि दे हैव ज़ीरो नॉलेज बट इन्फिनिट इंटेलिजेंस. तो जो भी हम बात बोलेंगे, दे लुक इट अप, दे फिगर आउट, दे गेट कॉन्टेक्स्ट. या ठीक है सर. सो आई वाज मेंशनिंग अबाउट द गट हेल्थ. व्हाटएवर लिटिल आई हैव लर्नड अबाउट इट, इट अपीयर्स टू मी दैट इट्स ऑल इन वेरी प्रिलिमिनरी स्टेज. बहुत पुरानी नहीं है ये डिस्कवरीज. आई मीन ऑफ कोर्स इंट्यूटिव अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी काफ़ी कल्चर्स में, बट फॉर साइंस एंड द न्यूट्रिशन एंड द मेडिसिन वर्ल्ड टू कम टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यार ये काफ़ी बड़ी चीज़ है, ये काफ़ी बड़ी दुनिया है पूरी की पूरी, जो हर एस्पेक्ट को आपके लाइफ के इन्फ्लुएंस करती है. आपके ब्रेन से लेके आपकी इम्यूनिटी से लेके हर चीज़ जो लोग आम आदमी सोचता भी नहीं है कि वो इससे कनेक्टेड हो सकती है. तो मेरा मकसद आज की पॉडकास्ट के बाद ये है कि ज़रूरी नहीं है स्पेसिफिक रिकमेंडेशंस लेके जाएं लोगों के लिए, लेकिन एक इस जो अंदर की दुनिया है ना, दिस इंटरनल वर्ल्ड, जिसके बारे में आम आदमी नहीं जानता, लाइक आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दिस वेरी वेल, नॉट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल डू. तो इस दुनिया का आप थोड़ा बताएं, बिकॉज कितना ट्रिलियंस ऑफ गट बैक्टीरिया, राइट? तो चलिए बात शुरू करते हैं. तो शुरुआत यहाँ से करते हैं. व्हाट इज गट बैक्टीरिया एंड व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय गट हेल्थ व्हेन वी से इट?
सो आपने फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बिल्कुल ये ठीक कहा कि ये जो गट हेल्थ और जो गट बैक्टीरिया, इनके बारे में जो साइंस है या जो ये टर्मिनोलॉजीज़ हैं, ये बहुत पुरानी नहीं है इन द मेडिकल लिटरेचर एज वेल एज इन द करंट न्यूट्रिशन एंड हेल्थ केयर लिटरेचर ऑल्सो. Though I myself is a gastroenterologist, but still even during our complete education, we didn't have even a single chapter on gut bacteria in any of our books. So in MBBS, MD, DM, so
बताइए आपको नहीं पढ़ाया तो हमें.
So I have 12 years of education behind me, and even then there is no formal teaching or not even a single chapter in our medical books. During our time, it may have been added because I have done my education since 10 years. 10 years have passed since then, so it may be these days it may be there. So it was not at that time. Just 7-8 years back, it was not there. So now coming to the gut health, first of all. So gut health is not a medically recognized term as such.
Achha.
So we don't use any term that this person's gut is healthy in our medical language. Or even if you would go to a doctor and you must have been gone since childhood many a times, I don't think anybody has written in your prescription or in a diagnosis that unhealthy gut or gut unhealth or gut disease. So there are some specific diagnoses, but as such, healthy gut or gut health is not a medical term. Okay. So what we can understand out of gut
health. कोई एक टेस्ट भी नहीं होगा जो करके बता सकते हैं ये
so,
healthy gut
no. So there is no
one test. अलग-अलग होंगे जो आपको indications दे सकते हैं.
There can be a combination of some things which can indicate that your gut is healthy, but there is no one test, and I don't think there is a need of any test also as of now. So to explain it a bit further, I would like to use an analogy between heart and gut, because because people have awareness about heart due to the problems of heart attacks and all. So अगर आपने कभी नोटिस किया होगा तो हेल्दी हार्ट भी कोई टर्म यूज़ नहीं करते हैं, ठीक है, कहीं पे भी मेडिकल पार्लेंस में. पर जैसा कि सबको पता है कि हार्ट का फंक्शन जो होता है, बॉडी को ब्लड पंप करना होता है. तो हम एक कॉमन लैंग्वेज में कह सकते हैं कि जो हार्ट जो कि बॉडी को ऑर्गन्स को एडिक्वेट अमाउंट में ब्लड पंप कर पा रहा है, देन इट इज़ एन हेल्दी हार्ट, और उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रही है उसको. तो अगर हम उसी पार्लेंस को अगर गट के उसमें यूज़ करें तो हमारी गट का जो फंक्शन, जो कि हमें पता है सबको, ऑल्दो दिस इज़ नॉट द ओनली फंक्शन जो कि, लेकिन हम अभी उसी के बारे में बात करें तो वो ये है कि हम जो भी कुछ खाना हम खा रहे हैं तो उसमें से न्यूट्रिशन को एसिमिलेट करना, दैट इज़ द फंक्शन ऑफ द गट. तो अगर हम इस एनालॉजी को यूज़ करें तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि अगर हमारी गट सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स को एसिमिलेट कर पा रही है एंड विदाउट एनी सिम्टम्स और विदाउट एनी प्रॉब्लम्स, सो वी कैन से दैट गट इज़ हेल्दी.
So, मतलब जो भी हमने खाना खाया है उस खाने के अंदर जो भी न्यूट्रिएंट्स हैं, जो भी पोषक तत्व हैं उसके अंदर, वो अगर एब्जॉर्ब कर पा रहा है,
वो हम एब्जॉर्ब कर रहे हैं.
क्या मतलब है?
एसिमिलेट मीन्स एब्जॉर्प्शन ओनली. एसिमिलेट, आई वुड जस्ट गो अ बिट डीपर हियर. सो डाइजेशन इज बेसिकली what we eat in our food are complex molecules. So digestion is basically two-step process. In the first step, our body breaks down those complex compounds into the simpler compounds, and which can then be absorbed. So by assimilate, I would say.
अगर इसको आप हिंदी में बताएंगे एक सिंपल लेमैन टर्म्स में.
So basically जो हम खाना खाते हैं वो कॉम्प्लेक्स, अगर हम केमिस्ट्री की लैंग्वेज जस्ट यूज़ करें तो इट इज़ मेड अप ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्स कंपाउंड्स, दे आर नॉट सिंपल कंपाउंड्स. तो वो जो है हमारे ब्लड में अब्जॉर्ब नहीं हो सकते हैं डायरेक्टली. तो उनको पहले बाय द वेरियस एंजाइम्स आर डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट, जो कि हमारा डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट है, वो उन कॉम्प्लेक्स कंपाउंड्स को सिंपल कंपाउंड्स में ब्रेक करता है, जो कि डायरेक्ट एब्जॉर्ब हो सकते हैं फिर ब्लड स्ट्रीम में, और ब्लड स्ट्रीम में या लिम्फेटिक सिस्टम में एब्जॉर्ब होकर के वो पूरी बॉडी तक पहुंचते हैं. तो इस प्रोसेस को हम डाइजेशन का नाम देते हैं. तो हम उसी को अगर एक कॉमन इंग्लिश वर्ड यूज़ करें तो मैं उसे एसिमिलेशन कह रहा हूँ, विच इज़ इन्वॉल्विंग बोथ अगेन दिस ब्रेकिंग डाउन ऑफ द food and the absorbing of it, the simpler compounds. And otherwise, assimilation is not a medical term here. I am just using an English word, assimilation, just to make it understand easily. So if one's gut is able to assimilate the nutrients and without causing any problems, that would be, I would say, a healthy gut. But it would be in its most restrictive terms. And why it is a very restrictive term, which I think we would get to know during our discussion here.
अच्छा, ओके. इसका सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है हमारे लाइफ में, मतलब जो गट बैक्टीरिया है?
हाँ, तो now the second part, after the gut health, I would now like to come to the gut bacteria. So gut bacteria are basically a large number of bacteria which are residing in our intestines. So if you know that whole of the world is basically teamed up with microorganisms. So they are in the air, they are in any surface, on our skin. But many people don't realize this, that they are also present inside our body. And in fact, a large number of them.
A large number, I think, उसका वजन 2 किलो के आसपास होता है, closer to our brains.
It actually weighs around 2 to 3 kgs. And I would say that the more striking fact would be that in our body, that if we count all our cells, so only 10% cells are human cells and 90% cells are bacterial cells.
Wow.
So we are actually 10 times more bacteria than we are humans.
Okay.
And if I talk in genetic terms, so 99% of genetic material which is present in our body is of bacterial origin and only 1% is of human origin.
Oh.
So if we talk about the Human Genome Project, I think everyone must be knowing about it. So our human body has 23,000 genes of its own. And while the bacterial genes or the microorganisms genes, because not only bacteria are present, the virus and fungi are also present.
मैं वही बोल रहा था, इसको तो फिर गट माइक्रोबायोम बोलते हैं ना.
तो गट माइक्रोबायोम,
वायरस भी है, फंगी भी है, और क्या क्या है?
Yeah, so gut microbiome is the broader term, but because the viruses, bacteria, fungi, everything are present. But as of now, the gut bacteria are the most well studied of these organisms. So that is why we usually talk more about gut bacteria.
Achha.
So gut virus and gut fungi are also coming up in a big way. The research on them are now going in a big way, undergoing. So they are also coming up. But as of now, the more focus is on gut bacteria as far as the talks are concerned.
Okay.
So I was just saying that 99% of our genetic material which is present in a human body is not of human origin.
अच्छा.
So it's basically either it's microbial in origin.
Okay. ठीक है. मतलब ये छोटे छोटे क्रीचर्स हैं जो हमारे पूरे एनवायरनमेंट में बाहर तो रहते ही हैं, शरीर के ऊपर भी रहते हैं,
शरीर के ऊपर भी रहते हैं,
और शरीर के अंदर भी,
नॉस्ट्रिल्स में, माउथ में, बट दे आर ऑल्सो देयर. वो हमारे पेट में, हमारी आंतों में भी है.
सबसे ज़्यादा वही है,
सबसे ज़्यादा आंतों में ही है. बड़ी आंत में सबसे ज़्यादा होते हैं, जिससे कि हम लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन कहते हैं.
अच्छा.
सो इंटेस्टाइन हैज़ 2 parts, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन एंड लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन. सो लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में 1 ml में 10 to the power 11 to 12 बैक्टीरियाज होते हैं 1 ml उसके कंटेंट में.
वाह. ओके. सो इट्स फुल ऑफ
बैक्टीरिया.
अच्छा, इसका role, so these are friends, by the way, these are not enemies.
Yeah, so this is very important to realize that these are friends, and these are not just friends, these are necessary for our survival.
So ये जो बैक्टीरिया हैं, ये करते क्या है? They feed on the food that comes in. ये खाना खाते हैं बोला, और कुछ केमिकल सीक्रेट करते हैं. Is that what they do?
So जो बैक्टीरिया हैं हमारे आंतों के अंदर, वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा वैरायटी के फंक्शंस जो है करते हैं. तो जैसा कि मैंने कहा कि हमारी बॉडी के अंदर सिर्फ 23,000 जीन्स हैं, और जो उनके जीन्स के प्रोडक्ट्स को हम प्रोटीन्स कहते हैं. तो हमारी बॉडी के अंदर ऐसे बहुत सारे प्रोटीन्स हैं जो कि हम नहीं बनाते, बैक्टीरिया बनाते हैं, और जो कि हमारे हेल्प करते हैं डे टू डे फंक्शनिंग में.
अच्छा.
तो अगर हम जैसे बहुत ही सिंपल एग्जांपल लें कि फूड की डाइजेशन का, सो देयर आर मैनी एंजाइम्स विच आर नॉट प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय आवर बॉडी and which are produced by these bacteria inside our gut, which help in breaking down up of those complex compounds which I was just talking about to into simpler forms and help in their absorption. तो इनकी सबसे बड़ी खासियत ये भी है कि ये डाइट के हिसाब से भी चेंज होते हैं. तो अगर मैं इसका एक आपको एग्जांपल दूं, तो जैसे अगर हम जापानीज़ या कोरियन कल्चर की बात करें, तो वहाँ पे सीवीड्स खाई जाती हैं। और जबकि इंडिया में अगर हम नॉर्थ इंडिया की बात करें तो हमारी डाइट में सीवीड्स का कोई रोल नहीं है। तो जो जापानीज़ और जो कोरियन पीपल हैं उनकी गट में ऐसा बैक्टीरिया होता है दैट हेल्प्स देम टू डाइजेस्ट दैट सीवीड व्हाइल इट इज़ नॉट प्रेजेंट इन आवर गट। सो इट इज़ बेसिकली अ डायनामिक इंटरप्ले। तो गट बैक्टीरिया जो हम खाते हैं या जो भी और भी कई फैक्टर्स हैं तो जिन पे कि गट बैक्टीरिया डिपेंड करते हैं, तो वो उनको उनकी ग्रोथ में हेल्प करता है, और वहीं वो इन रिटर्न वो उस चीज़ की डाइजेशन में, उस खाद्य पदार्थ की डाइजेशन में हेल्प करते हैं ताकि हमारी बॉडी उसे एब्जॉर्ब कर पाए।
तो दिस ब्रिंग्स अस टू अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। आई थिंक we'll discuss the nutrition separately, but does exercise have any impact on gut bacteria?
So yes, so exercise also have an impact on gut bacteria.
Okay.
So just एक मैं आपको थोड़ा सा और बताना चाहूँगा गट बैक्टीरियाज के बारे में कि जो गट बैक्टीरिया है, अगर हम उसको बोलें कि वो गट बैक्टीरिया हमारे हेल्दी हैं या नहीं है, सो हेल्दी माइक्रोबायोम है हमारा या हेल्दी माइक्रोबायोम नहीं है, तो इसको लेकर के जो मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट जो फैक्टर है जिसके बेसिस पे डिसाइड किया जाता है वो है डाइवर्सिटी। तो अगर आपकी गट में मल्टीपल टाइप के बैक्टीरियाज हैं, डाइवर्स बैक्टीरिया हैं, सो यूजुअली अराउंड 1000 स्पीशीज़ के बैक्टीरियाज हमारी गट में होते हैं, 1000 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ बैक्टीरिया, जस्ट इमेजिन। सो अगर जितने ज़्यादा डाइवर्स हैं तो हम उसको ये मानते हैं कि गट जो बैक्टीरिया है वो गट माइक्रोबायोम है वो उतना ही हेल्दी है। और देयर आर सम स्पेसिफिक बैक्टीरियाज विच आर ऑल्सो बीइंग एसोसिएटेड कि ये है तो मतलब हमारा गट बैक्टीरिया जो है हेल्दी है। जैसे एक कॉमन एग्जांपल लूँ तो बाइफिडोबैक्टीरियम अगर है तो हम ये कहेंगे कि हमारा गट बैक्टीरिया जो हमारा गट बैक्टीरियोम है, हम गट बैक्टीरियोम इज़ ऑल्सो वैलिड वर्ड कि गट माइक्रोबायोम की अगर हम पूरी बात नहीं करें तो गट बैक्टीरियोम जो है वो ज़्यादा हेल्दी है। तो एथलीट्स का जो गट बैक्टीरियोम है इट इज़ एक्चुअली मोर डाइवर्स देन दोज पीपल हु डोंट एक्सरसाइज। सो एक्सरसाइज हैज़ अ डेफिनेट इम्पैक्ट ऑन द क्वालिटी ऑफ आवर गट बैक्टीरिया, इट मेक्स इट मोर डाइवर्स।
इन्फ्लुएंस, क्योंकि खाने का तो आई कैन इंट्यूटिवली सॉर्ट ऑफ अंडरस्टैंड कि बैक्टीरिया फीड करता है उस खाने पे। हाउ डज एक्सरसाइज इम्पैक्ट गट बैक्टीरिया?
सो देयर हैव बीन स्टडीज in which the effect of exercise has been studied irrespective of diet, because there are statistical methods by which when there is a study you can exclude the effect of one particular thing to learn about the independent effect of another factor. For example, we can always say that
you isolate the other factors and you study one.
But statistical methods are also there, so the better way would be to do it in a study itself, but it may not be possible because you can say that the athletes usually eat also better. So that effect can be because of diet itself also.
So then again so then isn't that also nutrition ka
so but statistical methods also prove that independent of diet the exercise has an impact on gut bacteria, and in fact the higher the VO2 max of a person is, the better is the gut diversity. It has been proved in a study on rugby players in Ireland.
Interesting.
So they found that more the VO2 max, the higher was the diversity. But again there can be multiple confounding factors, like athletes usually eat also better, but by excluding the effects of diet by statistical methods, even the exercise has an independent इफेक्ट ऑन द गट माइक्रोबायोम।
ये जो आप स्टडी की बात कर रहे हैं ये प्रोफेशनल एथलीट्स पे हुई थी या एमेचर एथलीट्स?
प्रोफेशनल रग्बी एथलीट्स पे,
प्रोफेशनल्स पे ना,
रग्बी।
हाँ, सो इट विल वेरी, आई विल बी इंटरेस्टेड इन सीइंग इफ, एक तो स्टडीज इतनी कम होती है ना भारत में तो खासकर मुझे बहुत कम दिखती है, बट आई विल बी इंटरेस्टेड इन सीइंग द इफेक्ट ऑफ एमेचर एथलीट स्पोर्ट लाइक रनिंग, लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस रनिंग बहुत सारे लोग करते हैं, मैं भी लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस रनर हूँ, बहुत सारे दोस्त हैं मेरे सारे। तो हम लोगों का जो गट होता है,
हाँ जी,
आई वुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इन सीइंग वो कितना हेल्दी, क्योंकि ऑल दी एमेचर एथलीट्स, ऑल्दो वी आर परस्यूइंग something that is not very commonplace, like not everybody runs hundreds of kilometers, but we still, lot of us still lead very unhealthy lifestyles, and for a lot of us it is just exercise is a means of getting the freedom and the license to eat badly, but yeah, anyway, so yeah. So before we come to some more detailed discussion on food, I wanted to talk about the effect of toxins on the gut microbiome. There are quite a few of those. So the socially accepted drug is alcohol. A lot of people come home and have 2 drinks or more or whatever. So what effect does drinking have? So let's discuss drinking specifically only. Alcohol का क्या असर होता है इसमें?
So अल्कोहल का 2 वे में असर होता है गट बैक्टीरियम के ऊपर. So gut bacteria, alcohol has been clearly shown to decrease the diversity of gut bacterium.
How does it do that? By killing certain bacteria.
So it is not as straightforward. Okay, so it may have a direct impact on killing the gut bacteria, and it may also act through the effect on diet, because when you are consuming alcohol, you are prone to eat certain kind of a diet, and you may feel full and you avoid your regular diet. So it is quite common. So it may have an impact through that, and it can have a direct toxin effect also. So by both these effects, it can basically reduce the diversity of gut microbiome. So
It can or it does?
It does, basically.
It does. Okay.
And what is more important to know is...
Even if it's limited drinking.
So the latest research in the
At
field
least our
of
friend
alcohol,
Huberman says all drinking is bad.
the latest research which are coming up in the field of alcohol intake, they clearly says that there is no safe limit of alcohol intake.
Yeah.
So I'm not just talking about the gut microbiome. Even earlier there used to be people used to say that a moderate amount of drinking is good for heart also.
Yeah.
But right now there is it is clear that there is no good amount of drinking. So we cannot say that that 1 drink per day is better than a 0 drink per day. Such kind of a scenario is now obsolete.
Effect of alcohol obviously is quite bad on the gut bacteria.
So actually, I would like to make you aware with one more term here right now. So it is very important, and that is basically intestinal permeability. So
इसका क्या मतलब है?
हाँ जी. So permeability is basically an ability to pass through.
Yeah.
तो हमारी इंटेस्टाइन्स जो हमारी आते हैं उनके थ्रू ऑब्वियसली जो हमने फूड पार्टिकल्स जो हम खा रहे हैं फूड, उनके जो न्यूट्रिएंट्स हैं, दे नीड टू पास थ्रू दैम, ओनली देन दे कैन बी एब्जॉर्ब्ड and assimilate in our body.
Okay.
So one is that they are absorbed through our blood vessels, small blood vessels, or through lymphatic vessels. But लेकिन जो हमारे आंतों के जो cells होते हैं उनके बीच में भी थोड़ा space होता है, and various things can pass through them also. So it is very important कि जो हमारी intestinal permeability है वो कम रहे. अगर वो increased हो जाती है एक particular level से, तो we can absorb the toxins which are present in the gut into the bloodstream, and which leads to a state of inflammation. I hope everybody knows these days that everyone is, especially post-COVID, everyone is talking about their levels of inflammation by measuring the CRP levels in their blood. So everyone is measuring this.
कौन सा होता है?
ESR and CRP. So they are very... So intestinal permeability is very important in controlling the amount of inflammation in our body, basically the systemic inflammation. तो जो alcohol है वो it directly increases the intestinal permeability, and gut bacteria has a very important role in maintaining the intestinal permeability in adequate terms.
So इस तो इम्पैक्ट की टर्म्स में इसकी बात करें तो इम्पैक्ट तो इसका फिर ये होगा कि आपकी एक तो इम्यूनिटी डाउन जाएगी उससे. What are the implications of having an increased permeability?
So increased permeability actually leads to an increased absorption of a particular substance which is known as lipopolysaccharide. So lipopolysaccharide is the increased amount of lipopolysaccharide in our blood circulation, because जो भी अगर आंतों से lipopolysaccharide because of increased permeability absorb होगा वो blood circulation में आएगा. So इसके लिए एक specific term है endotoxemia. So ज़्यादा lipopolysaccharide जब हमारे ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में आएगा तो हमारे इम्यून सेल्स उससे रिएक्ट करते हैं उसको, और इम्यून सेल्स क्योंकि उसको रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं एज अ फॉरेन पार्टिकल, सो दे जनरेट एन इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स एंड विच लीड्स टू अ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अ स्टेट ऑफ क्रॉनिक इन्फ्लेमेशन इन आवर बॉडी. सो क्रॉनिक लो ग्रेड इन्फ्लेमेशन इन आवर बॉडी. Or chronic low-grade inflammation is basically a precursor to all the lifestyle diseases, whether it is obesity, diabetes or any heart diseases. Because आपने नोटिस किया होगा कि आपको पता होगा कि जो हमारे जो हार्ट अटैक होता है उसमें जो ब्लड वेसल्स होती हैं हार्ट की वो धीरे धीरे क्लॉट होने लग जाती हैं. तो दैट क्लॉट जो इनिशियल प्रोसेस होता है उस क्लॉट को स्टार्ट करने में दैट इज़ ऑल्सो एन इन्फ्लेमेटरी प्रोसेस बेसिकली. सो इन्फ्लेमेशन हैज़ अ वाइड reaching consequences on our body, and almost all the modern lifestyle diseases can be traced back to an increased state of inflammation, and it is because of increased intestinal permeability, and the gut bacteria has a prominent role in maintaining our gut permeability adequate, or I would say maintaining our gut barrier adequately. So that is how important they are.
राइट. सो कोई इसीलिए आई थिंक कोई भी इन्फेक्शन जब होता है शरीर में तो उसका इन्फ्लेमेशन तो एक सिम्टम उसका होता ही.
सो इन्फ्लेमेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड टू किल एनी पर्टिकुलर पैथोजन. सो इट इज नॉट अ हार्मफुल थिंग, बट अ परसिस्टेंट स्टेट ऑफ इन्फ्लेमेशन इज हार्मफुल.
ओके. And so then it's in our interest to ensure that inflammation stays low most of the time.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure that we can actually, consciously do that by taking a particular supplement or by taking a particular medicine. But I would say it is only, I would say, a lifestyle based only. And if a healthy gut microbiome plays a role in it, because it will keep our gut barrier intact and will lead to will prevent state of chronic inflammation from developing.
अच्छा. तो जब हम बात कर रहे हैं अल्कोहल की, which is a toxin and it also messes with the gut bacteria, what are the other things that mess with the gut bacteria? I think one of the तो लोगों को शायद ये शौक भी लगे जान के कि antibiotics.
Yes, so antibiotics by their very nature would kill the bacteria. So obviously, I would say it is obvious that the consumption of antibiotics would lead to alteration of gut bacteria. So that is why antibiotics need to be taken only when prescribed. कभी अगर आपको कोई डॉक्टर जो है अगर आपको सलाह देते हैं एंटीबायोटिक्स लेने की आप तभी लें. और यूजुअली अच्छी बात यह है कि एंटीबायोटिक्स का जो इफेक्ट है, एंटीबायोटिक्स आपको परमानेंटली नहीं लेने होते इन मोस्ट ऑफ द कंडीशंस. तो एंटीबायोटिक्स का जो इफेक्ट है इट ऑन गट माइक्रोबायोम, इट यूजुअली starts reversing in around 6 weeks, and by 6 months it is completely gone.
But would you say, or you may not say because it's your community, so आप बोलेंगे नहीं कुछ डॉक्टर्स के खिलाफ, पर do you not think it's just overprescribed these days? Like हल्का सा डाउट होता है किसी चीज़ का, we just ये तो ले ही लो. Is it not?
So I would say that it is more it's more a kind of a doctor, it's more dependent on a doctor-patient relationship also.
Individual, and also doctors also have different temperaments, right? Some
it is based on temperaments, and I would say it is also based on convenience also.
Yeah.
So if a person comes to you one time, so you also want to prescribe in such a way that a person need not come again and again. So sometimes such things also play behind these
but no, I'm generally saying there are like two of my close relatives are doctors, and they have very different temperament. One is like one is like अरे कुछ नहीं है सब ठीक है, खाना पीना खाओ, एक्सरसाइज करो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. The other has a heightened awareness of things and I see advantages of both. Because in one case you might just, the other one where you're being extra cautious, you're much more likely to catch something which is likely to turn more serious later.
Yeah, so like everything in life, it is a spectrum.
It's a spectrum.
And every end of a spectrum is useful in some situations, so it goes like that.
But coming back to the subject, having antibiotics kills the certain bacteria, and it affects. So having more of it is definitely not good for the gut microbiome.
Yeah, so having a repeated course of antibiotics is not good for the gut microbiome. But I would say that if you are taking antibiotics on prescription, they are usually prescribed for 5 days, 3 days or 7 days if you are not seriously ill. Then the effect is going to be, most of the effect is going to be reversed in 6 to 8 weeks, and by the end of around 6 months it is completely reversed.
Okay.
So I won't say that. I won't like to create a phobia here against antibiotics. So if it is prescribed, then you must take it.
Prescribed, you must take it, but अपना दिमाग लगा के over the counter भी मिल जाती है. That people should not do.
Yeah, over the counter it must be avoided.
वैसे मिल जाती है ना, antibiotics can be bought over the counter in India. ठीक है, मतलब मैं कंज्यूमर हूँ, मैं तो बोल सकता हूँ. अच्छा, ठीक है. Are you aware of any effects? Have there been any studies, or would you be aware of people using other kinds of intoxication? So there's alcohol, there is other kinds of drugs that people do, weed and smoking up and all of that. Has that known to is there any conclusive evidence?
So about the tobacco smoking, the the most common form of addiction or the smoking, it also has an impact on gut microbiome. It also reduces the diversity.
How does it do that?
And pushes it towards.
सिर्फ धुआं ही जा रहा है.
No, but it has many compounds which get absorbed through the lungs.
Like what?
Apart from nicotine, so there are many other compounds. So. So basically, they can also, harm the gut microbiome. The other thing is that smoking is also a factor, say in ischemic injuries everywhere in the body, like the heart diseases, as well as just like heart diseases, there are ischemic bowel diseases also. So whenever there is ischemia, it also increases the permeability of that particular organ. So gut permeability will also increase due to the effect of ischemia, and as well as it will also alter the gut microbial composition.
Now that you mentioned, let's talk about diseases. I think it's a good segue. IBS and leaky gut, is it the same thing?
No, leaky gut and IBS are not the same thing. Basically, leaky gut is just what I told you. The increased intestinal permeability is being termed as, in common parlance, as leaky gut. तो अगर जब permeability intestines की increase हो जाती है, तो उसे ही हम leaky gut का नाम देते हैं. Leaky gut is not basically a disease, I would say. It's just like increased intestinal permeability.
So then if somebody has leaky gut, they can improve it clearly. If you're saying if it's not a disease, they can clearly improve it by improving the diversity of their gut bacteria, which is by, we'll discuss kya tarike hain uske, which is, I mean, intuitively it is probably including diversity in your nutrition.
By diet and by avoiding the factors which have like alcohol, smoking, incessant use of antibiotics.
और दूसरा IBS, please explain IBS.
IBS is basically it's a collection of symptoms basically which is termed as IBS. So जिसमें कि किसी भी व्यक्ति को कुछ symptoms हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि पेट में हल्का दर्द, bloating और बार बार वॉशरूम जाना, और जो स्टूल की कंसिस्टेंसी में या स्टूल जाने की जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है उसमें चेंज होना. तो ये इन सब जो सिम्टम्स का एक कॉन्स्टेलेशन, मतलब इन सब चीज़ों को अगर हम ग्रुप करें तो उसे हम IBS बोलते हैं. तो इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट एक स्पेसिफिक डेफिनेशंस होती हैं IBS की, कि दैट इट शुड बी इट इज़ अ क्रॉनिक डिजीज़. तो जो सिम्टम्स हैं वो करीब 3 से 6 महीने से मिनिमम होने चाहिए, और इनमें से मिनिमम 2 सिम्टम्स होने चाहिए कि या तो आपकी इट इज़ मतलब एक जो मस्ट सिम्टम वो है कि आप तो आपकी जो स्टूल्स की फ्रीक्वेंसी है या कंसिस्टेंसी वो आपकी ऑल्टर होनी चाहिए, और प्लस साथ में पेन से कोई संबंध होना चाहिए उसका, पेन या ब्लोटिंग से, तो हम IBS डायग्नोज करते हैं. तो IBS इज़
ब्लोटिंग बहुत अलग अलग चीज़ है. यू आर सेइंग दोनों में से कोई भी क्वालिफाई करता है?
अगर हम वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड की बात करें तो दे स्पेसिफिकली टॉक अबाउट पेन, बट इफ वी टॉक अबाउट इंडियन स्टडीज़ और इवन द एशियन स्टडीज़, सो मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल दे डोंट सफ़र फ्रॉम पेन, दे सफ़र फ्रॉम bloating or a different sensation rather than pain. So if it is associated with the passage of stool, or if it gets relieved after passage of stool, so then then we can say that the person is suffering from IBS. Yeah.
Okay. ये होता क्यों है?
सो IBS जो है एक
अगर 2-3 मेन कारण अगर
सो एक वो ये बेसिकली एक मल्टी फैक्टोरियल डिजीज है
I
IBS.
think every single thing to do with human beings is
multifactorial.
always going to be multifactorial.
Yeah.
Answers are never straightforward, black and white. Yeah.
So IBS की अगर हम पैथोफिजियोलॉजी की बात करें तो द वेरियस फैक्टर्स विच प्ले अ रोल, मतलब अगर हम तो किसी व्यक्ति में किसी चीज़ का ज़्यादा रोल हो सकता है, किसी में किसी का, तो उसमें जो चीज़ें हैं उनमें एक तो रोल है गट डिसबायोसिस. तो गट बैक्टीरियम जो गट बैक्टीरियम है अगर वो हेल्दी नहीं है तो उसको डिनोट करने के लिए एक मेडिकल टर्म यूज़ किया जाता है गट डिसबायोसिस. सो इट मीन्स अनहेल्दी गट बैक्टीरियम. सो गट डिसबायोसिस प्लेज अ रोल इन इट. सो increased gut permeability plays a role in it. And there is a term which is very commonly used these days is like gut brain axis or increased visceral hypersensitivity. So they have a role in it. So
इन दोनों को समझाइए एक बार.
So increased visceral
axis means what?
So gut brain axis is basically means कि जो हमारी digestive system है और जो हमारा brain है, they have a talk with each other basically.
They communicate. Yes.
And they communicate bi-directionally. So brain also communicates with gut. And everyone of us have experienced that the butterflies in our stomach when we are under any nervous kind of a situation. And many people, they also need to go to, they all need to pass stool before any, before any meeting or any exam, and any butterflies in our stomach, or what we say borborygmi, or कॉमन भाषा में गुड़ हो रहा है पेट में. सो इट इज़ बेसिकली ब्रेन कम्युनिकेटिंग विद द गट इफ़ वी आर लाइक इन अ स्टेट ऑफ सिंपैथेटिक ओवर एक्टिवेशन. सो दैट इज़ कॉजिंग आर गट, हमारी आंतों को जो है वो कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस कर रहा है. तो दैट कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस विच वी फील एज लाइक क्रैम्प और अ गुड़ काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. So similarly, gut also talks back to the brain.
Yeah.
So that happens at multiple levels. So that happens first at the levels of neurons. Basically, हमारा gut rather than brain, actually the gut is the biggest nervous system organ of our body.
It's called the second brain also.
Yeah, it's also called the second brain, and it has so much number of neurons. So these neurons, they can directly signal to the brain. The same way the brain signals to the gut through the nerves. The second thing is through the endocrine system. So our gut produces a large number of hormones.
Yeah.
So they go into the brain and the blood system, and through the circulation they go to the brain. And most of our hormones which are responsible for hunger and satiety are actually produced by our gut, and they go to the brain and tell that we are now full or that we are hungry, rather than being the other way around, that our brain doesn't know in itself. The hormones present in our gut, they play a role in that.
So ghrelin, leptin gut से release होता है?
Yeah.
I thought endocrine system करता है.
So gut is also the largest endocrine organ also.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So there are many cells in our intestines which produce hormones. So rather than ghrelin and leptin, I would like to talk about peptide YY. So peptide YY is a hormone which is produced by the cells of our distal intestine. So when the food, basically the nutrients reach there, these cells get activated to produce the peptide YY, which signals the brain that the nutrients has reached there. Yes. And it means that we can stop eating. So it signals the brain, and we feel full. So our signal, we got to know that we are full, only then we would stop eating. Yeah. So it is our body's way to tell that the nutrients have now reached to us and you need to stop. So that is happened by peptide YY.
So then there's got to be a very strong connection between mental health and gut health.
So there is indeed a very strong connection between the mental health and gut health. So again, I would say that this just because the talk between the brain and the gut is bidirectional. So in the same way, the relation between mental health and the gut health is bidirectional. So the mental health has an impact on the gut health, and gut health has
stress है तो पेट भी खराब होगा, पेट खराब है तो stress भी होगा.
Yeah, so stress again, stress is basically stress. If I talk about in the biological terms, it is an increased production of cortisol in our body and increased sympathetic activation. So increased sympathetic activation leads to the increased contraction and increased motility in our gut. So which is basically we feel as cramps or uneasiness, and the motility also plays a big role in the composition of our gut microbiome. So it can alter the gut bacteria also, and similarly. When our gut health is not well, so all these the hormones I talked about, and there are neurotransmitter also which so so by neurotransmitter I would first again would want to talk about that. I talked about that there are three ways by which the gut communicates with the brain. We talked about two, the neurons as well as the hormones. The third ways are the neurotransmitters, and the most important, which is serotonin, which is known as happy hormone, because it is the production of serotonin in the brain which gives us a sense of happiness and fulfillment. And you would be, I don't think that now you should be surprised to know that the 90% of the serotonin which our body produces is produced in our gut rather than in our brain.
Wow.
So all of that serotonin, and now I think you can yourself relate that how the gut health can impact our mental health. The easiest way, the most direct way, the most understandable way is through the production of serotonin.
This is insane. I was just thinking about the whole scene, let's say a person's life, how much of it we are thinking this is influenced by what's happening in my circumstances. Like, I'm too stressed because what's going on in my life, and I'm completely oblivious to the fact that it may be because of what I'm eating. Like the way I'm feeling, उसका कितना परसेंट जो हालात है मेरे आसपास के उससे लेना देना है और कितना परसेंट मेरे खाने से है. Like there's a large percentage of
so I think we cannot talk about like in the percentage in like exact terms.
Yeah.
So जैसे कि हमने
large chunk of it, that's what I'm saying. Percentages obviously don't even matter, but there's a large chunk of it that so the gut health will actually, if your gut is healthy, you're much more likely to be having
to face those situations in a more positive manner. Yeah.
Correct. If your hormones are working properly, if your system gut bacteria is able to digest the nutrients just well, and it does not वो permeability
controlled है,
वो controlled है सब कुछ, and then you're much more likely to be at least being a fully functional human being, and then deal with whatever the circumstances are out there much better.
So obviously the gut bacteria cannot change the circumstances, but in a healthy gut can help you in
it can arm you to at least be fully functional आदमी है तो ज़्यादा better deal करेगा. Wonderful, sir. Let us talk about how to fix this. What are the ways in which one can look after their gut health? एक तो ये हो गया कि पहले तो इसको तोड़ना बंद करो, इसको नुकसान करना बंद करो. First of all, do no harm. Do the bad things that hurt, right? So alcohol, smoking. What are the other ways of taking in toxins? What would you list some more?
So apart from antibiotics, so other medications also impact the gut microbiome, and the most and one such medications are basically those which are being most commonly used by the people generally, and like they are proton pump inhibitors, like omeprazole, pantoprazole. Almost so many people are using them incessantly.
ये क्या होती है?
बेसिकली एसिडिटी के लिए जो ट्रीटमेंट के लिए हम यूज करते हैं,
पैन 40 वगैरह लेते हैं.
हाँ, पैन 40 इज आल्सो वन ब्रांड.
गट बैक्टीरिया.
हाँ, सो पीपीआईज दे आर सो द एंटीबायोटिक्स के बाद अगर जो सेकंड क्लास ऑफ जो ड्रग्स हैं व्हिच हैव एन impact on gut microbiome are the PPIs.
So the my wife pops in pan 40 like it's a candy.
So basically, so ऐसे तो अगर हम देखेंगे तो almost every medication can have an impact. But if we are talking about say drugs which have a huge impact, then I would say the antibiotics and the proton pump inhibitors, and which are like being you just said it right that people are consuming them like candies only.
Yeah. And even the syrup form, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it shouldn't make a difference.
Okay. Okay, insane. I hope she listens.
And the painkillers are the another drugs which.
Oh yes. How
so
can we not talk about them?
painkillers and PPIs and antibiotics. They all of them they are the three biggest used drugs,
so
and they are the three biggest impactors, adverse impactors of the gut bacterium.
मुझे तो चिंता हो रही है जितना मैं मतलब my wife in particular, she comes from a family of doctors and she sort of takes pride in the fact that she knows the names of so many medicines. So आप इशू का नाम लो उससे पहले आपको प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आ जाएगा कि ये वाले ले लो वो ले लो, and then she sort of feels good about that, and she also does not hesitate in popping any of these painkillers. Combiflam वगैरह तो बच्चों की चीज़ें होती हैं. She also has migraine and stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, my focus has been to do things and activities and diet and maybe all those interventions which will probably cure a migraine in the longer run. Rather than depending completely on painkillers. So ये Sumanet और ये जो गोलियाँ होती हैं जो कि भारी painkillers हैं. Please tell me.
Sumatriptan is not actually a painkiller.
What is it?
No, so it basically it acts on the specific receptors which are leading to the experiencing of the pain in migraine. So I won't say that if she has a diagnosed migraine, so I won't say that she should avoid Sumatriptan, and if specifically if it has been prescribed. But yes, that common use of Combiflam and like Brufen, these should be avoided.
Limited.
Limited as much as possible.
So sure, if she's been prescribed it, she should not avoid it. She should have it. But please tell me, what's the effect of it? The long-term use of, let's say, something like a Sumanet.
No, Sumatriptan, I won't think that it has an impact. I don't even know if it has an impact on gut bacterium. It is a completely different class of a drug. It is not a painkiller in its truest.
What about opioids? Opioid painkillers?
So opioid painkillers have their impact on intestines directly. They reduce the intestines motility. So they lead to some side effects like motility means movement. So gut की movement को कम करते हैं. So they lead there. So it's their usual side effects like constipation and a feeling of bloating.
Correct. So it slows down
it slows down the movement of gut. So that can this movement of the gut, it itself has an impact on the gut microbiome. So by that way, they can have an impact on gut microbiome. So
Thank you for telling me all
just
that.
To summarize, I would as far as medications are concerned, so take whatever is necessary only. So don't self-prescribe and don't take unnecessary medications.
Right. Because it has probably a worse effect if you overtake them than you think.
Yeah, so I would say they have effects which we are not realizing at this moment. So,
No, I mean, I'm totally just not anti-medicine at all. I mean, it has its place and it should be taken where it's necessary. It's just that I'm totally against the unnecessary popping of pills. Great, sir. This has been very useful. So I was asking you about what are the things that one can do to improve the gut health. So we were talking about reducing of course, the toxins and drugs and stuff, and even the medications. We talked about antibiotics, painkillers, and
proton pump inhibitors.
PPIs. Their use should be limited. In fact, सारी दवाइयों का use should be limited. ये हो गया. तो ये चीज़ें तो जो खराब कर रही हैं gut bacteria को. What else is sleep affecting gut health?
So again, sleep affects gut health, and there has been studies which has shown that the gut microbiome of the shift workers is poorer than the regular workers. So those who do night shifts or those who have interrupted sleeps, their gut microbiome is less diverse. So how does it impact? So again, it has not been studied in detail that how does it impact, but it has been shown that it is less diverse.
Okay. What can one do to improve their gut health?
So now it is very important to know about what can we do to improve the gut health. So my first advice is like the most important thing basically is the diet. So because the gut bacteria are consuming what you eat.
They're living on that.
They are living on that. So as it is being aptly put, like the food is the manure of the garden of your gut microbiome. So what is that in food which they use? It is very important to know that. So basically, it is the complex carbohydrates. So if I would say in 3 words, So it would be eat complex carbohydrates.
कुछ एग्जांपल्स भी दे दीजिए लगे आप.
So carbohydrates, like what are complex carbohydrates is basically to know that we must know okay, what is simple carbohydrate. Simple carbohydrate is simply the sugar. So like which we consume, like glucose or
सफेद चीनी जो चाय में होती है.
हाँ जी.
Right.
So that
What
is
else
simple sugar basically. The sugars which is present in fruits is also a simple
Fructose.
sugar, fructose, and the milk sugar is also a simpler sugar only.
Okay.
And the corn syrup which is used in all the artificial ketchups, sauces, and they are all the examples of simple sugars. And complex sugars are basically, they are compounds which are broken down by our body, our system, into the simple sugars.
Okay.
So we would say ki why can't we just consume simple sugar, because anyways they are going to get broken in the system itself. So when we consume complex sugars, so these are going to be broken down into our digestive system, and most of the enzymes which are used to break them are produced by bacteria and are not produced by our own human body.
Okay.
And these complex sugars, they does act as a source of energy for them. Okay. So they derive their ATPs through those molecular reactions by which they are helping us to make them simpler, and then we can absorb them. Number one is this. So complex carbohydrate is basically a food for the bacteria which are present in our body. Okay? So there are other benefits of avoiding simple sugars in terms of our metabolic health, because the simple sugars, they lead to a spike in our blood glucose faster as compared to the complex sugars, but that is for a different day.
Yeah.
So as far as gut microbiome is concerned, so they need complex sugars to complex carbohydrates.
Right.
To function. So what are the sources of complex carbohydrates in our, say, like if we are talking in daily, say North Indian diet अगर हम बात करें, तो like roti, चावल, so they are the sources of complex carbohydrates.
अच्छा.
Yeah. So if we are
white
taking
rice, brown rice, कोई ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है.
हाँ, so as far as complex carbohydrates are concerned, so I would say कि they would be more. So complex carbohydrates in common language is fiber basically. So obviously there is more
so
fiber
rich foods. So I think that in itself is a very deep subject that one can go.
So fiber would be more in brown rice, but it is there in white rice as well.
Yeah, and there are conflicting studies which show कि difference जो है वो marginal.
हाँ, marginal. As far as I am concerned that it is marginal.
Yeah. So one is complex carbohydrates, fiber-rich diet.
Yeah, fiber-rich diet.
What are the other recommendations you would have?
I would say that
when I'm planning a meal for myself or for somebody else, what would be the guiding principles that I should look?
So I would say that you must include fiber, and as I told you that the more diverse gut microbiome is better. So I would say if
so have a diversity of fibers, diversity of complex carbohydrates.
So it is an analogy we can derive that if we give more diverse food to our gut bacterium, the more different kinds of bacteria will use them, and it will also be more diverse. So we can include different kind of the fibers. Like what we do in our home, we can, instead of like the rotis which wheat rotis, we usually can include multiple cereals like jawar and jaw, like sorghum and barley. So it will give you different kind of carbohydrates.
तो जितने इतनी तरीके के grains Indian culture में, food culture में हैं, वो हम यूज नहीं करते, सिर्फ गेहूं आके रह गया. So going back to all those जो पहले यूज होते.
Yeah, we can increase the consumption of millets. So that will give apart from all the other benefits which you are must be reading about the millets these days, because this year is an international year of millets. The 2023 and Indian government is also promoting it in a big way. So the gut the millets there are no studies as far as I know, but just by the virtue of being able to provide us with a wide range of complex carbohydrates, they should be and they must be helpful in producing a diverse gut microbiome. And diverse gut microbiome is a healthy gut microbiome.
Yeah. Okay. So so basically, would you say having a diverse set of foods
Yeah.
is one principle that one
Yeah.
should.
Similarly, vegetable fiber is also fiber.
Yeah.
The salad, the fiber which is present in salad is also a fiber.
Yeah.
So consuming variety of vegetables, variety of salads, variety of pulses, they all increasing their diversity should lead to increase in the diversity of gut microbiome. So there is some controversy regarding the soluble fiber versus insoluble fiber, but I think rather than going into that controversy, we can safely increase our fiber intake and make it more diverse,
Yeah.
rather than thinking very much about being soluble or insoluble.
Okay, sir. This has been extremely useful. A personal question.
Yeah.
Now you're aware of all of this. How does this impact your own food choices and the choices of your family, or when you're children in particular?
So I just mentioned right now
ये
that
balance कैसे
that
होगा?
I use rather than wheat rotis, we use mixed flour, and most of the time. So
A multigrain sort of mix. Huh.
So that is a very good question, I would say. So you need to read the labels actually. So a multigrain sort of a mix most of the time contains, many times it would contain 80 to 90% of wheat. So it doesn't
ये जो
serve any
market
purpose.
में आते हैं.
So I'm not saying that all of them contain it. So what we do is like we have 3 different flours and we put one fist of each while preparing
हाँ,
our
तो खुद
atta.
बनवाया हुआ आटा.
So I would say that would be better. Or if you read ingredients, then there are flours which are
Which
available.
genuinely are multigrain.
Which genuinely
So,
are
but the
multigrain.
idea is
Yeah.
had to have multigrain.
Yeah,
So
but you must see that it is not containing say 90% of wheat itself. So you can get 3 different attas and you put one fist of each while, and then make your dough and make whatever bread you want to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So एक तो ये हो गया, and it's an actually an important change because it's a staple, right?
And it's I would say practical change. It can be practical takeaway from our discussion. I think this would be the it would be a major practical takeaway from our today's discussion, that you can have multi-grain on which you can prepare by yourself, and it's easy.
Yeah. And you got children, right?
Yeah.
How many?
So I have a daughter, 8 years old daughter.
Mine's going to be 2 years soon.
Okay.
Yeah. How well are you managing her gut microbiome?
So she also eats the same rotis. So in that way she can get.
When and what about when you're going out and stuff? And are you, or is it too early to sort of?
So she knows a bit of it because when I was working on my book also, so she would be with me. So she knows. So like unlike most of the people of
Children
her age,
at her
she
age,
knows
yeah.
what are gut bacteria and what do they do. Quite.
Yeah, I was
she
gonna
knows a
say-
bit about them.
Yeah.
So if we say that it can, while traveling, say it can also impact your food choices, like you just had these makhanas
Yeah.
rather than biscuits or
Yeah,
any
correct.
chips. So that kind of a difference
So try and
it make. Yeah.
So are you? I mean, mentally, I'm just talking about you now. Mentally, when you, because of your understanding, does it? When you see all kinds of food in front of you,
Yeah.
are you intuitively able to like? आपको दिखाई देता है उसमें कि ये gut bacteria
No. So
के
it
साथ क्या
doesn't.
करें? You're not inundated with that.
Yeah. So no, I'm not get inundated with the information. But yes, but you, I would say that you need to make a conscious choice, and the easiest way to make this conscious choice is to eliminate those foods, because if you have a bowl full of makhanas and a bowl full of chips in front of you,
Yeah.
so however knowledgeable you are going to pick chips.
Right.
And they are being designed that way. I'm not saying that it's not accidental that the chips is more craving or
Yeah.
palatable than the makhana. It has been designed in that way.
Designed to make sure, and even the tagline says no one can eat just one.
So
It's been designed to make you
yeah. So
engineered, as they say.
engineered. So if you are into the books, you can read a book, Salt, Sugar and Fat,
Okay.
and you can know about how these foods are actually engineered in labs to produce the signals to our brains in such a way that we can't resist them. So processed foods actually harm gut microbiome, because when you consume processed foods, you are not consuming unprocessed foods, and unprocessed food is basically fiber. So you're not consuming them. So then you are not manuring them, and it is going to become less diverse.
Yeah. तो एक तरीका इन प्रोसेस्ड फूड्स को छोड़ने का ये भी हो सकता है कि जब आप अनप्रोसेस्ड चालू करते हो, लाइक इंस्टेड ऑफ एलिमिनेटिंग, इफ यू फीड द बॉडी द राइट थिंग,
so you start with unprocessed food instead of starting with processed food.
Right.
So you are going to give them you are eating better, obviously. Plus what is the biggest advantage is the unprocessed food make you feel full, while the processed food does not make you feel full.
Correct.
So you are your processed food intake is going to come down by itself if you eat first unprocessed food. So if you are out, you have a packet of chips as well as some makhanas with you, so you are feeling, you want to munch something, so instead of you first open that box, so the intake of the other box is obviously going to come down.
Obviously, if you prioritize, let's say, a nutrient dense food first, वो आपका दूसरे वाले का consumption पहले
अपने आप भी कम हो जाएगा.
Those who eat egg, let's say you have 2 boiled eggs, उसके बाद आप आराम से decision लोगे
कि आपने क्या खाना है. तो एक पैकेट ऑफ आपके पास कोई चॉकलेट है सामने और 2 एग्स हैं, तो आप चॉकलेट पे ही पहले जाओगे, पर आपने अगर पहले अपने एग्स खा लिए, then if you see chocolate, you would like to have say 1 or 2 bites, but you are not going to have it like before.
Correct. Wonderful, sir. If you were to leave people with one advice, one lifestyle change they can make to improve their gut health, what would that be?
So that would be eat complex carbohydrates and avoid simple sugars.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate, and this has been a wonderful learning session.
It's been really nice to be here and being interacting with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for staying with us till the end. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please consider subscribing and also sharing it with your friends and family. If you have a takeaway or a learning from this episode, or it made you feel a certain way, you can leave us a comment or a review. This is a zero cost way of supporting the podcast. I really hope you will do it. Also, it is now a weekly podcast, so you can look forward to an episode every Friday. If you subscribe, you will get a notification when a new episode is released. So do it now. See you in the next episode next Friday. Until then, my friends, keep working on finding your ultra.